In our last show, we briefly talked about the handshake. And as I promised you yesterday, I promised I would bring some visitors, two guests with us. And today we are blessed to have Honorable Member Paul Onyango and on my left, Brian Isoe. And welcome to the show. I'm your host, Samuel Ochieng. So, Honorable Member Paul Onyango, you've seen Kenyan politics, how it behaves, how it is from 1997, and now we are in 2019. We've witnessed several violences after every election, and the recent one was the 2017, and we saw handshake coming in to bring peace in the country. What's your take on the handshake?
Okay, thank you very much for bringing in such a talk for the betterment of our people and for the betterment of each and everyone who's listening or who's watching from wherever point he or she is. There are so many significances of handshake that we have actually seen, from the first point that the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga actually came into understanding with the President, is Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, and the betterment of lives that has happened from 2017 to date.
So talking about the betterment of lives,
Yes.
we've seen many Kenyans complain. Some see it as a betrayal. Raila Odinga had other NASA officials, the other NASA co-principals. So they saw that as a betrayal. Can you talk about that?
Okay, the problem with us Kenyans is we are very egocentric, most of the leaders. We can't talk of betrayal simply because of some few mentioned officials in government, in comparison to the betterment of lives of 47 million people in the country. So you can't contrast or compare at any point or at any cost the interests of one egocentric leader to 47 million Kenyans.
Okay.
On this
Let
issue,
me correct you before
Yes,
you go
sir.
any further. I acknowledge the fact that the handshake between President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Amolo Odinga, this handshake brought onto the table the kind of euphoria that the Kenyan citizens have wished to have for a very long time. I mean, it brought unity.
Yes.
But don't you forget this perspective brought about by betrayal. The other three NASA leaders, these are leaders who have been chosen, selected by the 47 million from back their home places. I mean the mashinani in quotes. These leaders were chosen. They are a representation of the people back at home. So when you term that there wasn't betrayal because of one particular person, I stand to correct you that people were betrayed. I mean, you could see the kind of anger bestowed among people back at home. I mean, these leaders were chosen. They represent the other particular group who is at home, who don't have the audacity to stand up to say that this is wrong. So to my take, that was the biggest betrayal to ever happen.
Talking of betrayal,
Yeah.
Dr. Brian, in the Jubilee, let's say, household, the deputy president and the president, who is the chairman of Jubilee party, do you think there was also some sense of betrayal? Because if going to the handshake, he ought to have gone with this deputy president, and now he went alone.
Actually, speaking of betrayal among the Jubilee party,
Yeah.
I won't term that as a betrayal in that the president came alone, the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga came alone. I speak of betrayal concerning the citizens of Kenya.
Yeah.
I mean the citizens were betrayed. They gave Raila Amolo Odinga the chance to lead them to Canaan. Yeah, the Canaan they wanted to sail through to all the way through River Jordan to Canaan. But he did betray them. I mean, how do you go to bed with someone whom you have been fighting all over with? I mean, you witnessed the kind of words that they used against each other. Then all of a sudden, we just wake up one morning to hear that, oh, the president and the former prime minister have gone to bed together. I mean, literally, things never work that way. That was the kind of betrayal we have never witnessed before. That was not good, and it will never happen again. We should condemn that actually. Very, very bad.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Paul.
Yes.
He's talked about betraying Kenyans
Yes.
as a whole, those who voted in Raila Amolo Odinga.
Yes.
Do you think handshake has had benefit on Kenyans,
Yes.
leaving alone the betrayal side of it?
Absolutely.
And if there is any advantage of the handshake, can you mention them? Can you give more light on it so that the public can be aware of the importance of the handshake between Raila Amolo Odinga, the Right Honorable, and President Uhuru Kenyatta?
Yes. Just to touch something small on what my fellow colleague had said about the betrayal stuff, there is no process of betrayal. If betrayal is betrayal, then it stands for itself. Okay? Again, on the stuff of significance of handshake, you see, this is evident from what we can see and from what we can experience. This is evident. You know, before the handshake came to be, we were in tension. There was total tension and confusion of where we could be and what we could do as Kenyans.
So meaning you are trying to say through handshake, we enjoy peace in the country.
Absolutely.
Honorable Brian,
Yeah.
what's your take on that point of peace after the handshake?
In as much as I hate the coming up together of the president and the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, I'll agree on this one. I think the handshake has brought harmony, unity. It has brought together all the 47 tribes in our country. We now have peace. The economic borders have been strengthened. I mean, Akikuyu can carry out an activity in Kisumu. Someone from Kisumu can do the same, maybe in Nyeri or any part of the country. So the kind of chaos that we witnessed after the elections, after the rerun once more, these have been put behind. Though the handshake never brought upon each and everything that I wanted, it killed many of our dreams.
What are some of the dreams that handshake killed? Maybe
I mean, we wanted to be in Canada.
So, in Canaan,
Yeah.
you know, that is maybe what the Right Honorable meant. Maybe the Canaan you are in right now, you enjoy peace. As a honorable member on my left side had mentioned
what
earlier.
you don't get is this.
Okay.
Literally, we wanted peace, but it was peace with Raila Amolo Odinga leading us to Canada. So not peace
So
brought upon by two people going into bed.
the Canaan, according to you, maybe if I guess that is the State House, or which Canaan do you mean?
Now, my friend, I think that is where you get us wrong.
Uh-huh.
State House belongs to one particular person, the president. That's not Raila Amolo Odinga or Uhuru Kenyatta. It belongs to someone who has been duly elected by the people of Kenya. So if we were to elect Raila Amolo Odinga, as we did actually, he could be in State House. What perspective of Canaan are we speaking of? The manna, the milk. This is what could have trickled down from the national government to the common mwananchi, where the common mwananchi will have food on the table, the wanjiko. I mean, this handshake has brought upon betrayal. It is now breeding more seeds, as you can see. think you know that.
I totally disagree with you.
No, you don't have to disagree. This handshake was brought upon to be able to put two people on the table. I mean, the president is supposed to retire come the year 2022. Do you think he's to retire?
He is supposed.
Yeah, he's supposed.
Yes.
Not supposed. Actually, he needs to go home.
According to the new constitution.
Yeah.
Constitution.
So,
Yeah.
why do you think they came up with a handshake? Is this to benefit the common mwananchi or themselves, if I may ask you?
Okay, talking about many seats.
Yeah?
There is BBI. I hope that is what you are trying to talk about.
Yeah.
Many seats.
This is a child of the handshake. You see?
Yeah. So, the BBI, it has come as a result of the handshake. Honorable Paul Onyango,
Yes.
do you think BBI is the best solution to Kenyans towards election violence after every 5 years? Because Dr. Brian, as he has mentioned,
I disagree totally.
yeah. Do you think it is a solution to the Kenyans so that we can enjoy peace after every general election, after every 5 years? We go to the ballot.
You know, not until you have to execute something, that's when you have to actually realize its pros and cons. When we promulgated the new constitution that we are using, the 2010 constitution, we never knew its pros and cons from the very time we promulgated it. But what have we seen of recent? There are some areas that we need to correct.
Which are these areas which you never saw in 2010 when promulgating the new constitution?
I recall when we were promulgating the new constitution, it was said that 80% was right and only 20% was needed to be corrected. In short, they kept this 20% under feasibility study. They wanted to check and they wanted to look at the practicality of it. Either is it going to work out right for the Kenyan people? Is it going to work not right or otherwise contrary to what they expected? Right?
Okay.
And that's why we have the BBI thing. We said we had to correct the 20% that remained in order to actually have it all inclusive for the betterment.
Okay, Dr. Brian,
Yeah.
talking about the amendments in the constitution as mentioned in the BBI,
Yeah.
do you agree to it? Because way back you were in Raila's camp.
I'm still in Raila's camp. I haven't switched. I'm not switching. I'm not boarding any camp.
Okay, according to you,
Yeah.
what are these areas that were never seen in 2010? I think Kenyans went to the ballot for the new constitution to be brought in. And in your camp, maybe if I can say so, you saw it twice. The constitution was good and it was complete. So what are these areas as Honorable Paul has mentioned?
The only point Honorable Paul has risen, he says 20% of the constitution is bad, which I actually agree. But he is only postulating. In that he's postulating because he hasn't read the BBI report to get to understand what this 20% that needs to be changed in the constitution will entail.
So what does it entail?
What seat of a prime minister that is supposed to be brought up? This seat never used to be. It is a seat that has been born by the BBI report. I mean, why the seat of a prime minister? Why? What for?
Okay, sorry, let me interject you at a point. Why do we have to criticize this seat of a prime minister and a 3 deputy to run the government? Why do we have to criticize this? Creation of only 4 seats. If I can mention the prime minister's seat and 3 deputies to run the government, that's if we are the president, whose role will be a ceremonial role and to unite Kenyans. So why do we have to criticize only these few seats while we fail to realize how many more seats we have actually drawn down from the 414 members of parliament to 147 members of parliament.
Okay, let me
What is the
this
difference between 414
These
and
particular 4
147?
seats don't have the consent of the people of Kenya. These were seats that have been put in place by the political class to ensure their overstay in power. So when you tell me that you have trickled down the number of seats, I mean, democracy is all about having more representatives in the government to ensure that Wanjiku back at home is able to feel represented at the national level. So when you cut this number of seats from 400 to 100, I mean, then you add some 4 people with more power. I mean, still, you are trying to divide the Kenyan people. I mean, by watering down from 400 to 100, then adding 4 more people. Who are these people to question?
The same way I had mentioned it to you, first is the seat of the Prime Minister. The second, the 3 seats are the 3 deputies that will assist the Prime Minister and the President to run the government.
So what's the role of the Prime Minister?